Alright, we're good to go.
Okay, good to go?
Good to go.
So, I have a question here, and this is more for the ladies, which there aren't that many tonight. There's usually more. Gonna get less response out of this one. But who here actually knows the difference between, like, fucking... I don't even know their names. I am really sick of... I work in a retail store where we sell paint. And I'm really fucking sick of, like, 37 different names for beige. Like, I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy that gets paid to make up just different names for varying, just slightly varying shades of fucking colors. Like, no, that's not purple. That's sapphire blush. That's primrose autumn. That is an embarrassed marsh dog. Oh, good. But another thing that just bugs me, just going with the whole theme of irrelevant names, just scientific terms. Yes, this is a slightly educational portion of my act, I'm very sorry. But no, scientific terms, it just bugs me. I understand, I'm a man of science, I believe in science, science gives us many wonderful things, but I don't know why we have to have so many terms for such bullshit. Like, sir, if I went up to you and called you an oniofagus, what would you do? You'd punch me in the face, wouldn't you?
I'm not that.
But if you walk up to someone and say, oh, you're an oniophagist, aren't you? They'd get punched in the face, but you're just calling them a nail biter. Oniophagistery is nail biting. Just, why can't we just call it nail biting? Well, because we need a proper... But I'm gonna get punched in the face. But no, just other shit just made, like, mageirophobia. Is he afraid of wizards? Is Harry Potter hell for him? Or triskaidekaphobia, triple-decker phobia? Can I eat a grandpa burger and him not have a stroke? Is this guy somewhere we're gonna have a problem to go and eat? But no, it's just another thing. Just speaking of science. Atheism, I'm not an atheist. I believe maybe there is something bigger than us, but I'm not going to be all preachy about it. But I think it's hilarious that my atheist friends teach their children about a magical man who watches them constantly. Sounds like a pedophile, firstly, when you go that route. A magical man who watches them constantly, and if they misbehave, they will be brought no presents by his magical flying sleigh drawn by enchanted deer. Santa Claus is okay, but God is a bit of a stretch. So again, I promise the educational bits are almost over. But I was going over some old English class notes, and I remember this book that we read about, like, child soldiers in Africa, and they were giving child soldiers cocaine to make them fucking aggressive and fight. And I was like, oh, it's such a travesty, just child soldiers, and why would they use drugs to control people? Well, drugs have been around in war for a long time. Like, and if you didn't know, the Vikings would, like, chew on cocaine root and go into battle with fucking jazz! That's where berserkers come from. I'm not gonna break the stage again, I promise. Or the Picts, the woad, the blue shit that they paint on their face, that contained traces of LSD. That explains so much. Just, of course you're gonna be fearless in battle because your clothes are snakes and the British are dragons! But, of course you're not gonna be afraid of anything because nothing makes sense. But speaking of British, one thing I've really noticed, when a lot of people do the British accent, they make them sound a lot like this, which, I don't know why all British people in any impersonation have to be old cockney thugs. Like, you want to go, mate? You want to go? You're looking getting a tussle, mate? You fucking cunt, you fucking nutter. It doesn't make sense. Now, there are some like that, but those are Welsh. Those aren't true British. So my dad, I do a lot of making fun of my dad in my act, and it's because it's easy to make fun of my dad, because he's Buffalo Bob. He has a deep voice like this, and he talks like, hey son, can you go to the store and get me a couple tickets? It rubs the lotion on its back. And he wonders why I'm ashamed to be in public with him, because he's got a big Joe Dirtworthy mullet, an 80s porn stash, rocking those gray Daisy Dukes, and he sounds like Buffalo Bob. He wonders why I don't like to be seen with him, but I don't really like being seen with most of my family because all of my Nana's neighbors have seen her naked. Just just my family's a bit nudist. A lot of people have to worry about their house looking presentable for company. I have to worry about my family being dressed. Just I have to make sure they're not gonna go upstairs and see Nana with the door wide open right after a shower. I've lost a few friends that way. My dad's no better. My dad, when he's home, there are no pants allowed. None. I'm pretty sure some of my girlfriends in high school have seen more of my dad's dick than they've seen of mine. But he wore the Daisy Dukes all the time. Like all summer, that's all he fucking wore were just shorts like this. And his balls would just hang right here. We go to the Tim Hortons and he's sitting there, "Hi, I'm gonna get an extra large black and a Boston cream donut. Do you guys still do the banana cream pie?" And the girl behind the counter is like, it's like a pendulum. I can't look away. But yeah, so just what you might have got from that, a lot of people seem to get the impression I'm gay. I talk a lot about dick and balls in my act, and if you haven't seen, I have a joke. I have like a 2-minute bit about George, about like, is that the sign, Stephen? What you're doing something? I'm not gay. People think I'm gay. But I have a joke. I have like a 2-minute joke about Gerard Butler's dick flopping around in 300, totally changes the dynamic of the movie, and it just leads me to the story where a buddy of mine a few years ago looked me in the eye when we were hanging out. I'm a nerd, by the way. Like, I'm a huge nerd. I play D&D. I LARP. There's fucking pictures of me on Twitter with a big beard and scale mail wielding a big foam hammer. I'm a fucking nerd. But so I'm hanging out at one of my LARP events, and he's been drinking, I've been drinking, and he looked at me and was like, "So Dan, what makes Dan passionate? What does Dan want to do with himself?" And fucking 16-year-old me had no idea, like 16, 17-year-old me had no idea what to fucking tell him at the time. So I sat down and I thought about it, and I realized, well, one thing I'd love to do is be a stand-up comic. I've always loved watching the Comedy Network. It's my favorite channel, so maybe I want to be a stand-up comic. So I told him all this, that yeah, man, you really inspired me to pursue my dreams and to just be that guy, just be like, do what I want for it and don't give a fuck if it makes me money. And you really helped me get out of a hard time and stop fucking around and doing drugs. And he gave me this look like, "Oh, you're so sweet." He gave me a hug and he's just like, "Oh, you're just so sweet. Why can't you like suck your dick?" He's gay and he just gave me that look like, "Oh, if only you like take it in the ass." But I've got my sign, that's my time. Thank you, everyone.